Welcome to the Orion Sportscast Podcast, the most refreshing analysis, insight, and opinions in the world of sports. Here are your hosts, Josh Egan and Brandon Waterhouse.
We have, this is probably our most content-loaded show yet. I'm looking at the prep sheet right now, and this may be the first ever 6-hour podcast. We got a lot to talk about. And I'm glad we pushed the show to this late because a lot has broken. We got NHL, NFL, NBA. We got a bunch to talk about, even stuff outside of that sport. We got high school football to talk about.
Jeez.
High school.
Hard.
Yeah, way over hard.
3 strikes.
But we got high school football to talk about. I don't think we've talked about that yet, but and then we're going to have a very special announcement at the end of the show that's going to help out the community. And I think we're excited. I'm ready. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
How's your how are you feeling about all this school stuff going on?
Man, school's coming down to the wire, to be honest. So I'm like, it's not even about school anymore. It's almost like school's this afterthought. You just want to be happy, right?
Yeah, I mean,
as a human being.
We just handed in I just got the text now. We just handed in our project that's worth 75% that we had to scramble for at the end because people weren't pulling their weight, and it is what it is. But hey man, bro, if you're not,
guy goes on his podcast and talks about his group assignment. Like, come on.
Bro, it's my podcast. Who's gonna stop me from saying what I want? Like, the only person who can stop me from saying something on this show is you. So.
No, that's why I love it, man. I'm just like, what else can you do but talk about the fucking lackluster group effort? Come on.
So speaking of having your own podcast, I'm gonna throw this at you because I didn't have this in the notes, but I think you're gonna know where this is going, and this is gonna be a really smooth transition. Talking about having your own podcast, saying what you want, and being a hell of a performer. How did you like Pat McAfee and WARGAMES this weekend?
Pat McAfee. That was great. I actually totally missed that on the spreadsheet, to be honest with you.
It's not on there.
Oh my god!
I just remembered.
Like that was like the probably most anticipated thing I had on my mind before probably honestly like the news today broke of just like, everything that happened in the sports world, like up until it's only Tuesday, but like holy fuck, Pat McAfee went crazy on Sunday night, and I got to give him like such a round of applause. I don't want to be too loud right now. It's late, but like. This guy jumped off the top of the cell, front flip, swanton bomb, Jeff Hardy-esque. Brought back my childhood, man. I was going through the archives of WWE that night on my phone. I whipped out my belt.
You sent me a photo of you and your belt and nothing else. So
nothing else, and that was all it needed to be said. Like, I got this motivation now. Like Pat McAfee. You think it was only his second fight, right? So he didn't know what to expect. He was like always trying to go in and out of the cell. Like he was gonna be the first one to leave, and then second one to leave, and third and last. Eventually, he was the last one to leave, if you understood really. But I thought that was just gonna delay like any action and like actual time we saw him in the ring. And then he took like 5 extra minutes when he was getting all the tables out from under the ring just to get into the ring,
which was great storytelling.
But at the same time, like this guy, if it wasn't for the tables, like he was the guy who brought that into the situation. At least, what do you have to say?
Well, if you're a wrestling fan, and most importantly an NXT fan, WARGAMES is your Christmas. It is WARGAMES is treated as NXT's WrestleMania. They've done it 4 times now, and it never disappoints. It's the most entertaining pay-per-view of the calendar. I look forward to it. The only pay-per-view I look forward to more is the Royal Rumble, and I think everybody loves the Royal Rumble. The last Royal Rumble, we had Edge return after 9 years, but WARGAMES is just phenomenal, and just the rules around it. You have 2 teams of 4. They enter one member from each team enters every 3 minutes, so there's always an advantage. The match doesn't actually start till everybody's in the cage. I'm not going to worry too much about that stuff, but just the spectacle that Pat McAfee put on and the draw that he brought over to the company. And we're seeing it with other wrestling promotions because Shaquille O'Neal will be appearing on AEW Dynamite this week. And I'm 2 for 2 for transitions this week. So what do you think about Shaq showing up on AEW?
What do you have to say about what I texted you on Sunday night, saying that the breakthrough of this event and war games in wrestling will be the addition of outside forces from industries like basketball and like NFL, Pat McAfee. So like, and not even
Right,
that.
right. And I don't, and people are saying Pat McAfee was the first one to start this. It's not. It was Ronda Rousey. Rousey started this. She was the first like big, and yeah, other celebrities have showed up and participated in WWE matches.
Brock Lesnar.
Well, he's under WWE contract, right? Like he's a full
Right.
time.
But he's also a real UFC.
Yeah.
He's been a UFC champion before.
Right,
So.
but he was WWE champion before he was a UFC champion. So,
Okay.
But just to appreciate the fact that Ronda Rousey jumped over from UFC and she made her mark there, and other athletes saw like, hey, I can go and get fake punched for money. So I think we're going to see a lot.
It might even be 2 times the much as amount of money.
Oh, it's probably way more than they make over there, right? And I think you're going to see a lot more athletes jumping over to this pro wrestling.
I think the worst slap in the face is that Shaquille doesn't need this money. Like, holy fuck! But the great part is that the money for like what it will create for the AEW will be astronomical. But it's not like he really cares for I would say much of a endorsement any means. Like, what does he need the money for? He's Shaquille O'Neal right now.
It's the TNT network, so that's probably why.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just, it's not like I don't know. Maybe Pat needed some extra side cash. He just wanted to go.
I think he did it for the love of the sport, to be honest. And the best part was, did you see his? I don't know if you saw the photos. Did you see his podcast on Monday? He was selling the injuries. He did his podcast with a neck brace on. It was great. He sold it.
That was awesome.
Yeah, and so War Games was amazing. We won't get too.
I want to watch that. I kind of want to see that now.
Yeah, I'll send you the photo after this. But he had a big neck brace on his podcast, swearing revenge on the Undisputed Era. So we do both realize that pro wrestling is fake, but I encourage you to go and watch. What was that match? Like 40 minutes, 45 minutes? Yeah. Go and watch it. It's entertaining.
Above the half-hour mark.
It was fun. Speaking of fun and trying to get things figured out, the NHL figured their stuff out, and this kind of broke really quickly and out of nowhere. January 13th, the NHL will start 58-game season. There will be a Canadian division. They're realigning the American divisions as we speak. Actually, the Canadian division hasn't been confirmed, but it was just reported about 3 minutes ago that Gary Bettman has said there will probably be a Canadian division. He's probably about 3 weeks behind on that one.
We were saying like, what? Okay.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, buddy.
But so the NHL will be back.
What's the format looking like, Josh?
The format. So we got a 56-game season. It could be anywhere between 54 to 58, but so it's looking like 56. And it's going to look a little different. You're going to have 3-game homestands, kind of MLB style. So, for example, I'll use Toronto and Ottawa. Ottawa will come to Toronto for 3 games. And then, so they will play probably like a Thursday, Saturday, Monday, or a Thursday, Saturday,
Sunday.
Yeah, like a back-to-back situation. And then it'll be 2 days off for, let's use Toronto as an example. And then they travel to, let's say, Edmonton, and then they'll do a 3 and 5 in Edmonton. So they're going to do 3-game homestands. That's what it's looking like, not confirmed, but that's what they're going to be doing. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fast-paced. You can play each Canadian team 8 times, and I'm excited for it, man. Like I sent my friend this question. It's kind of off topic. I sent him the tweet that I sent you from Greg Wyshynski saying the NHL owners have confirmed that there will be a season starting January 13th. I said, when have you been hornier? When you see the cart girl driving up 11 or when you read this tweet? And he was like, that's a toss-up. But hockey's
what a great analogy, to say the least.
Yeah. But I'm excited, man. This is going to be great. And just to have, like, have you not missed hockey? Like, how far?
Man, it sucks just because I want to play hockey, right? And for me, I had a little bit going locally, so to see it is great, honestly. At least it's coming near pond. We have to get on the outdoor rink sometime for us, like just the outdoor pond. Me and
we will. Yeah, for sure.
Knuckle, and just record the shit out of that.
Right, but the financial situation, I believe we addressed this on the last podcast or a couple podcasts ago with the escrow and the deferment pay. That's all been figured out. They're just going to leave it as it was. They want to get everybody back on the ice. And I think that's how you and I predicted it going. We said they're going to start. What did we say? January 15th, I think was our prediction.
We were like middle of January would have been like actually early as fuck.
Yeah, we said, I think I actually posted the quote, January 15th would be lucky. And they're saying January 13th. It will be 10-day training 15th. Camps. 15th.
You said 13th.
Oh no, it's the 13th. Bro, you got me all confused now. Yeah, January 13th is the start date. There's going to be 10-day training camps, no exhibition games, and players have to report to their home markets by January 2nd. So they're kind of giving them that holiday break, and it's going to be fired up. It's going to be fun. And we're going to have NHL hockey. We're going to be talking about NHL hockey on this show in a month, which I'm excited.
What?
We haven't had that yet.
We're talking about NHL hockey right now, but we're not talking about scores, though.
No. A little bit of a serious subject. We got it's kind of broke. It started with the whole Akeem Aliu situation, and then we heard more coming out. And there's a lawsuit going through the Canadian federal system right now about junior hockey and the hazing situation and teams that haven't done it. And you sent me this story, and do you want me to speak on it or do you want to address to it? Whichever you're more comfortable with.
You can throw it to me for like an opinion at the end. I'll definitely summarize it.
So
just for personal
I'm not going to say the details too much, but pretty much there's some hazing situations that involved players stripping naked. Bodily fluids were involved and players being forced to do stuff that isn't legal, that they didn't want to do, and is torturous and pretty much demeaning to their self-esteem and all that stuff. And it's not a good look for hockey. It's not a good look for junior hockey or players that want to be put through the junior system. So hopefully they get this figured out. Brandon, I don't know if you have much to say on this.
Yeah, man. I'll talk really quickly on it because it's my podcast. I've played junior hockey before, and I sent this to my parents just because, it's this article definitely hits super close to home for me just because, like I said, well, actually, no, it's not like I said now because we cut that out. So, this is my podcast, my sports podcast, and as an athlete, I played hockey, so junior hockey as well. So I mean, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to say anything too hard, really. Like, I can see this really going through as a serious subject. So in the court of law, they have some really serious and like descriptive cases I don't even mention, but like permanently damaged body parts that people need to reproduce have like been mentioned, and that's just absolutely if you're a hockey player and you're a male hockey player and you're doing stuff and you're a rookie and you don't have any idea what's happening, some guy in the article said he was you could be a 15-year-old rookie and some guy's 21, he's hazing you. He has 6 more life. I'm tripping. He has 6 more years of life experience and have no idea. You're not gonna like back down. It's a whole situation. It's
for sure
need this light brought upon it, really.
Yeah, I think it's a shame that this is, and these reports were from, I believe, between 2003 and 2007, and hockey has come a long way in terms of hockey culture. We now have a bunch of hockey organizations, and I'll shout them out. We got the Hockey Diversity Alliance, which is headmanned by Matt Dumba, Nazem Kadri, and all those guys who kind of were the forefront of the racial injustice in the NHL. And we got the Black Girls Hockey Club, who have that Get Uncomfortable pledge. And we're lucky to have them because it's really brought awareness to how hockey is not an inclusive game right now. And we want to see that change. I know you and I both want to see everybody involved in hockey and as many people as we can in the sport. But we also want to see, quite honestly, the bullshit cut from it. Like the stuff we read in this article it's disgusting and it leaves a mark on the game. And we don't want that there. We want players to enjoy the game for what it is and make memories with their teammates. You got to go back to the roots on this. And what are your favorite memories growing up playing hockey? Mine, it wasn't the games, it wasn't the wins and losses. Shout out Meek Mill. It was the tournament play, and just being able to get those trophies, and like the mini sticks in the hotel, the manhunt in the hotel, running around Nottawasaga Resort at the golf course in the snow and coming back just drenched. And when you get older, and sorry mom and dad, but getting drunk at the tournaments, and when they didn't know it, you're 16, you got to play a 6:45 a.m. game and your whole team's hungover, but you pull it off anyway. It's stuff like that. But the stuff that was, and maybe we'll link to the article in the YouTube description just so people know what we're talking about. But the stuff done in this article, there's no place for it in the game, and there's no place for it in the world. So if you're taking part in this, cut it out. If you've been affected by this, we're sorry, and speak up. We can help you speak up if you need to, and we're going to get rid of it. But moving on to some more hockey, I just want to touch on the NWHL because we didn't really get them much airtime in the last episode. So their bubble format, they will be playing 5 games each to decide their regular playoff standings, their regular season standings, and then their playoffs will be 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, and then a final. So you're kind of looking like a peewee, and I don't mean this insulting wise, you're looking at like a peewee hockey tournament style, which I think is kind of cool. Like that's going to get eyes on the game. They're going to be on Twitch. Sportsnet is going to pick up the semifinals, and the finals. I'm excited to see it because we got a new team. We got a Toronto team. I'll be watching those games. And
when does that start?
That I believe that starts January. Let me get the date right because they deserve to have that date right. NWHL start date. But yeah, it's going to be exciting. I love a tournament style thing. They start on January 23rd, and they'll be playing Lake Placid, which was home of Miracle on Ice.
Right. That's why I
So
the last one.
Yeah, I don't know what you said. Like the Rocky movie happened there.
Salt Lake City. No.
I don't know what you said. You said something weird.
Yep.
But that's going to be fun. Yeah, so I think that covers our hockey. Oh no, we got the World Juniors to talk about. World Juniors, they're starting soon. Canada out of their quarantine today. They were able to practice and leave their hotel rooms for the first time in 14 days. But other teams are seeing issues, and the tournament could be cut down to 8 teams because Sweden is having COVID problems, and so is Germany. Sweden's head coach tested positive for COVID-19, and they are supposed to fly out tomorrow. Same with Germany. They had players test positive who are also supposed to fly into Edmonton tomorrow. Why they left it this late to do the testing, I have no idea. But I think it was Scott, someone from Team Canada said that the tournament will move forward with 8 teams if necessary. So the tournament will go forward if they have to do it with 6 teams, 7 teams, 9 teams, 3 teams. Tournament will go forward. So there's just an update for you about the World Juniors. We are going to do a World Junior preview show closer to the tournament. And I believe just before Christmas, we're going to be doing this will be kind of like a mega show, I guess, our like top 10 World Junior moments. Brandon and I both love the World Juniors. Great time of the year, great moments. So we might be hearing some Can You Believe It on that show. But yeah, so there's your World Junior update. Do you got anything to say about the World Juniors or COVID-19?
I'm excited. I do want to see every team compete for sure. So it's unfortunate right now, but
man, I just hope Kazakhstan makes it. I love watching Kazakhstan play.
Yeah, they're in it this year.
They are in it this year.
So, I'll lead it right into something that's really similar to a coach testing positive. Is a player testing positive in tonight's NFL game. Des Bryant of the Baltimore Ravens.
Not bad.
Actually pictured hugging coaches, handshaking other players, and he tweeted he was on Twitter actively saying are they letting this game be played? I had just tested positive and they're taking me off for another test. It was crazy. Do you have any more information on that?
I don't have any information on his COVID test. The current score of the game with 2 minutes left. The ball is on Dallas's 28, 2nd and 7 for the Cowboys. Ravens are up 34-17 with 2 minutes left. So my bet is safe. I had the Ravens to win and beat the spread. But no, I don't have any more information on Dalton and his COVID case.
Dalton.
Not
Des
Dalton,
Bryant.
not Dalton. Des Bryant. I don't know. I read Dalton on my screen, but Des Bryant and his case. But yeah, the fact that he was talking to people pregame and all that is not good. Hugging people, contact, close. That's concerning. And I just hope that everybody is safe and healthy outside of that, because that's concerning. I mean,
Is that your dog?
Yeah, can you hear him?
A little bit.
That's why I lifted my headphone. But shout out Molson. Maybe I'll bring him in here in a little bit. But yeah, so kind of concerning. But that game as a whole, the Ravens and the Cowboys, Tuesday night game, not too much hype around it. And Lamar Jackson was activated. He's playing. But you know, these games outside of a Monday, Thursday, or a Sunday have kind of been dead. Like that Wednesday game with the Steelers game last weekend was kind of, or last week, I guess, was kind of they played it to play it. They didn't play it to win. And kind of disappointed in these rescheduled football games. Not what I wanted. But we had some good Sunday games this weekend. Let's go through them. If you hear something, speak up. The Saints, they clinched a playoff berth with a victory over the Falcons. They win 21-16 without Drew Brees still rolling. They improved to 10-2, and the Falcons dropped to 4-8, not 4-6, 4-8. The Saints clinch the playoffs, keep going. They're doing well. Let's move on to the Dolphins and Bengals. The Dolphins making ground on the Bills for first in the division. I think they're only a couple games behind now. They beat the Bengals 19-7. No surprise there. It's their Dolphins' best start to a season in the first time since 2003. So they start 8-4 for the first time since 2003. The Jets and the Raiders. You want to touch on this one a little bit later?
Or at all?
Well, that was a big story. That's just
a big steal. It was
a
steal if you're a Raiders fan.
Yeah, the Jets, they lose 28-31, but they had the game won with 5 seconds left. And then the Raiders just stole the game from them. So
Did you see the video of like a group of Jets fans who were cheering for them to lose so they would keep a perfect no-win season?
Yeah, those guys want Trevor Lawrence, but I don't know if Trevor Lawrence wants them. So we'll see how that goes. But the Raiders improved to 7-5 with that clutch. That's a big win for the Raiders. That keeps them pushing forward in the division. And the Jets dropped to 0-12. Not good. Not good at all. They pretty much have locked up the first round pick. So then we had the Vikings and Jags. The Vikings win 27-24. The Jags almost pulled this one off. They would have improved to 2-10, but instead they dropped to 1-11, staying in the race for Trevor Lawrence. So if the Jets can win a game, I don't know why you would at this point. But actually, I want to go back to that Jets game because something's bugging me. Why did they send 7 people on a blitz? Like, that just backs up my theory that me and 7 of my best friends could beat the Jets. Like, you do that shit at recess in 2-hand touch football. Okay, get the quarterback, go. All he has to do is
the 7-man blitz on the last. Was it their last play? The touchdown.
The first time in 23 years that a team has done that.
A 7-man blitz.
A 7-man blitz. All you had to do was throw the ball up. Like you or I could have completed that play. I don't know what it was. Like looking back, I saw the play the first time. And I was like, damn, what a play by the quarterback. And then like the analyst broke it down for me and I watched it back. I was like, wait, I could have done that.
Oh my goodness.
Like the guy was wide open, 7 men. It was silly. Anyway, let's go back to the Vikings and Jags. Vikings win 27-24. Close game, but the Vikings, break 500. Well, not break, go 500. They're 6-6. Jags drop to 1-11. Got the Colts and the Texans. Colts win, improved to 8-4. They beat the Texans, who dropped to 4-8 at 26-20. No surprise there. The Browns, they're becoming quite the story. They improved to 9-3. Baker Mayfield is doing well without his boy OBJ, which could be bad news for OBJ, because if the Browns can put together a little bit of a run here without Odell Beckham Jr. They might look at moving him for some assets that they need on the defensive end. And Baker Mayfield, he's backing up his talk at the moment. I don't know if you saw much of this game, but that's their 6th game with 30-plus points this season.
Wow.
Which is impressive. This this Browns team was the laughing stock of the team of the league a couple of years ago, and now they're kind of putting everybody to shame. 9-3, they're in the top. I put them in the top 5 teams in the NFL at the moment. Top 7. But yeah, and people are calling for Baker Mayfield to win the MVP. I won't put him that high, but he's had a good season.
That's interesting. Actually, I didn't hear. I hope Josh Allen though.
It's mostly Browns fans. We'll do some MVP talk at the end of this because I got an interesting take for you. Just to wrap up the games here, the Lions, this was funny, beat the Bears 34-30. They win their first game without Matt Patricia. Yeah, so whatever. The Rams beat the Cardinals 38-28. Rams improved to 8-4. Cardinals dropped to 6-6. I'll let you take this one. The Giants win 17-12. Giants have won 4 straight games for the first time since 2016. I've never seen Brandon so happy, but I'm kind of disappointed in him to settle for mediocrity.
Settling for greatness because the New York Giants
5-7 is great.
Were just dealt a great card. 1-7, went on a 4-game win streak. Upset the Seattle Seahawks with a healthy Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf.
I'll give you that.
A backup quarterback. No Saquon.
You played well.
Joe Judge. This guy said Joe Judge is everything that the Detroit Lions wanted Matt Patricia to be.
That's my favorite quote of the weekend.
Shout out to some guy on ESPN, man. Good take right there. Joe Judge, it was under Bill Belichick's wing as well, just like Matt Patricia with the Patriots. So it's kind of like I heard Bill Belichick's coaching tree is just taking a couple different ebbs and flows, I guess. If you care about Matt Patricia getting fired.
Not really. I care more about his burner account. I'm waiting for more info to come about that. So the head coach of the Jets, do you know his name? Adam Gase. Adam Gase. He might lead a team to 0-16, which wouldn't be the first time he's been on a team that's 0-16 because he was part of the Cleveland Browns when they went 0-16.
Wow.
Yeah, just a fun fact for you for the day. Anything to wrap up your Giants' a huge victory this weekend?
Yeah, my thought on the Giants win this week. I'm very proud of the Giants. Very disappointed in the so-called undefeated Steelers who lost to the Washington football team.
Yeah. Speaking of disappointed, I'm sure the Chargers are pretty disappointing in their offense output because they got shut out 45-0 by the Patriots. Bill Belichick and the boys just rolled in there and had a game. The Patriots and the Dolphins seem to be gaining ground on the Bills. The Bills won this weekend, which is good, but a 45-point loss is the largest in Chargers history. 45-0. How do you not score a point in a football game? I've still never understood that one.
And then I fell too.
Yeah. Eagles, Packers. The Eagles lose this one 30-16. They dropped to 3-8-1. Packers improved to 9-3. And then I'm just going to bring up the next game quickly before I bring up my next point. The Chiefs beat the Broncos 22-16. This was a lot closer than I thought it would be. KC, they go 11-1 for the second time in franchise history. The first time they did that was 2003. Patrick Mahomes looked mediocre in this game, and that just backs up my case that was brought to my attention, and I back him up fully by Brian Hayes of Overdrive TSN 1050 that Aaron Rodgers is going to win MVP this year and not Pat Mahomes. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Brandon doesn't care about it. He just cares.
No. I don't care for Pat Mahomes winning it.
Oh, okay. I don't think he will because he's kind of like people get tired of the superstar,
Well, they didn't get tired of Giannis winning it, so they gave him back to back. So I'm kind of mad about that.
Yeah, but LeBron was the superstar, right? Like they don't want to give. If the NHL gave it to the best player every year, McDavid should win the MVP every year. But people get tired of the superstar, so I know it's only Patrick Mahomes' third season as a starting quarterback, but people are probably like, oh, let's find someone else who can do stuff that he can do as well. And I just think like the climate of the season, Aaron Rodgers is going to win it this year, and he does have some better underlying stats than Pat Mahomes. It's just the Chiefs are going 11-1, and the Packers are at 9-3. But we'll see what happens there. A couple more games. Washington football team, as we mentioned, they break the Steelers streak. Steelers are now 11-1, matching the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Washington football team beat them 23-17, 6-point win. Not too shabby for the Washington football team. And the final score in this one, the Bills, they get a victory. This was a huge win for them as it gives them it gives them a game over the Dolphins and the Pats. They beat the San Francisco 49ers 34-24. Cover the number, big win. I won some money off of it. Good night, everybody. Great win. Just happy. But they got a tough schedule coming up. They got the Steelers on Sunday. They got the Broncos on a Saturday after that. And then they got the Pats and the Dolphins. Like those last two games, interdivision games, that's going to be some fun football to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, do you got any football?
Just want to mention that Carson Wentz makes over 900,000 per game on his contract, while his new replacement at number 1, Hurts, only makes just under 900,000 all year.
So I make more than Hurts.
Wow. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's the point.
No, it's not. I wish I made that much money.
The point is that Carson Wentz's career is just downhill ever since he got replaced by Nick Foles in the Super Bowl right there.
Hurts, doesn't it?
I know. Huh?
Hurts.
Oh. It doesn't hurt for me personally, but now it does, I see.
But yeah, we got some just a couple games of note this upcoming weekend. It's kind of being the NFL is getting into crunch time. Playoffs are approaching. We're on week 14. We got 4 weeks left. Hopefully they don't have to go into week 18 with rescheduled games. I don't think they'll have to. Just some games of note. Steelers, Bills. That'll be a big game for both teams. Steelers are going to be looking to rebound. The Bills are looking to keep gaining ground. Patriots are playing the Rams, Cowboys, Bengals, Chiefs, Dolphins. Hopefully the Chiefs can win this one. How about my Bills? A couple more games. Your Giants are playing the Cardinals. That should be a fun one because the Giants are at 5-7 and the Cardinals are 6-6. So maybe the Giants can improve to 6-7. Maybe they can look to finish 500 for this season. The Jets, I'm only bringing them up because will the train keep rolling? Can they go 0-13 by losing to the Seahawks, who are 8-4? We'll see there. The Packers are playing the Lions. Packers 9-3, Lions 5-7. And then our Monday night game, we got the Ravens and the Browns. That will be a fantastic game. 2 solid quarterbacks going head-to-head with Lamar Jackson and what's his name? Baker Mayfield. So that I think that wraps about our NFL talk. If you could pick one team to win this weekend, who would you pick? I'm going to hold you to it.
The Giants?
All right. Well, I'm going to take – who's playing the Jets? I'm going to take whoever's playing the Jets. I'm going to take the Seahawks.
Do you think the Seahawks are really going to lose back-to-back against 2 New York teams? Like, no way.
Well, no, that shouldn't be the question you're asking. The question you should be asking is, do you really think the Jets are going to win a game?
Against the Seahawks, coming off of a loss from, like, the worst in the year.
Watch, the Seahawks are going to win 79 – so the Jets are going to win 79-0 now.
And then New York just ruins Russell Wilson's MVP hopes in a matter of like 14 days.
Yeah, they're going to break his ankles. Anyway, Russell Westbrook. Speaking of Russell Westbrook, he has been traded. You're the NBA guy. Why don't you get to this? That was the worst but best transition ever.
Dude, we already discussed Russell Westbrook being traded on that last episode.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did. It was like opening. It was him for John Wall.
Okay, well, Westbrook was traded for John Wall. Dude, I got so much going on. I don't remember what we talked about.
Nah, yeah, it's okay. I remember that one. But Harden is also, let's just say that he's connected to Russell Westbrook, his former teammate last year from Houston. Literally today, okay, let's not say literally today, because over the past few days, when training camp opened up for the NBA, he missed the first two just days and nights of training camp with his team. I don't know if there was any reasons. He posted to his story like a cringe emoji, and then he was literally pictured at like what seemed like a bar, nightclub-ish situation.
It was a strip club.
So,
James Harden obviously has issues with the Rockets because he's not reporting to their practices / training camp. He's been at whose birthday party was he at?
The little babies.
Was it little baby's birthday party? High as a kite, and he gave him a gift of pretty much
honey buns
and
100 buns.
Yeah, he's been at the Houston strip clubs. People have caught him. The owner and the GM have said there's a reason he's not there, and they're not willingly going to discuss it publicly, and it's up to James Harden to make that call. Seems a little fishy to me. I don't know why he wouldn't be there. Maybe there's a disagreement with management. It's probably because he wants out. He's like, I'm not playing for this team, so trade me. But the Rockets, they have no leverage. If a player wants out, the team would be like, yeah, we'll take him, but we're giving you fuck all.
Limited resources. Right.
So we'll see where that goes, but there's not much we can report on or talk about with that because we don't know too many of the details. But yeah, it's disappointing to see that, man. You want your star players to show up, especially for markets that need it. And Houston is a market that kind of needs a victory with even with an NBA Finals appearance. I think they would be okay with that. Obviously, you'll want the championship, but if they can get past everybody and say, yeah, we were in the finals, that would be a huge win for them. But I don't know, James Harden not showing up, not reporting, not doing his job. Maybe the next time we see him, he'll be in Raptors colors.
I hope so. That'd be funny.
No, I'd be fine with that.
Speaking of Raptors, and when Kawhi Leonard played, he was on the Raptors. He was known for load management. Mm-hmm. But now the NBA has prohibited load management in nationally televised games.
Right. This is huge.
I don't know what to say because.
Right. I'm trying to find the words to describe it because it's going to be difficult for teams to justify. So say, for example, I'll be the Clippers, you be the Lakers. And I rest Kawhi for the night. I just say, oh, he's got a knee pain. But he doesn't. It's just load management. How's the NBA going to prove that? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they want them playing in nationally televised games. So they want them playing on those, Tuesday night games on TNT. They want them playing on Saturday nights, Friday nights, when it's like, Clippers, Lakers, Bucks, Lakers, Golden State, Lakers, pretty much any game involving the Lakers. But they want the stars playing. And I think this is kind of stemming from LeBron James saying that he's not going to play the first part of the season. And then Adam Silva's like, no, you will be playing because for each game missed, the teams are going to get a $100,000 fine. And it's not the players that are fined, it's the teams. So the teams will make sure that these players play. And I like it. As a sports consumer, I'm not involved with any of these teams. I don't have any gain from them winning. I want to see the stars playing the stars. And not the Dallas Stars, but the stars of the teams. And I want to see LeBron James on the court. I want to see James Harden on the court. I want to see Kawhi Leonard on the court. I want to see Austin Matthews on the ice. I want to see Lionel Messi on the field. You know what I mean? Like I want to see everybody who is the best at their sport, at their talent, doing what they're doing. I don't want to see them resting and saving it for later. You don't need rest. You're a professional athlete. You train for 4 or 5 months in the off season, and then you get your job done. I don't go to work and say, actually, today I'm taking a load management day, and then I leave. Right? I wish I could do that. That'd be cool, but I don't. So, you're a professional athlete. You can deal with it. We'll see where it goes. We'll see how teams get around it. Teams are going to get around it, and I bet you the Clippers are the first team to avoid it. So,
yeah,
see where that goes. Another thing the NBA has changed. They're no longer testing for the marijuana, and it looks like a couple players took advantage of this right away.
That's funny, yeah.
Yeah.
TikTok's quick, man, especially the Boston Celtics, which is just quick to hop on that. If you're following really underground social media, you'd see like all the Boston Celtics were like pictured, rookie to veteran Kemba Walker were pictured outside of like a restaurant, eyes as closed as like curtains at the night because you couldn't see anything. They were squinting, and it was like someone else made the joke, like this isn't our joke being made, like just the Celtics took complete advantage of that legislation that was passed in the NBA because they looked super really fried, rather, for lack of a better statement.
Right. And players got to realize they've stopped testing. They haven't legalized the drug or allowed the drug in the league. They've just stopped the testing of it, so they still shouldn't be doing it. But honestly, man, like, go for it. Just don't post it on social media, and don't be like, hey, flying into Cleveland tonight, check out my 5-foot bong. Like, just do what you do it in your hotel room. Just don't go flaunting what you're doing. Kind of treat it the same way as drinking, right? You don't want to be drinking on camera and showing these young kids what you're doing, right? As I take a sip of my beer.
Especially if I saw that on TikTok, I could only imagine like little kids watching their favorite NBA team just get. I mean, it's not. And I was gonna say intoxicated, but you can still be intoxicated and caught off guard when you're high. So.
Right. And it is.
It's got to be used. I mean, they're passing it. I mean, beforehand, players, not that they were, but they would get. Were at least allowed. You can drink wine, get drunk, however you want to. Hopefully, players use it properly in terms of medication, and like recuperation after, and for like sleeping, and the benefits of their health, and hopefully it doesn't get taken out of hand.
Right. We're going to circle back on some football because Michigan-Ohio State game was canceled due to COVID-19 concerns. That's a pretty big matchup. It's a big college game for these teams. And unfortunately, it was suspended due to COVID-19 tests. The players were not identified. We don't know who tested positive. We don't know when the game will be played again, but that game was canceled. And COVID continues to reign its terror on college football. We've seen Trevor Lawrence get it. We've seen the Florida team was infected by it. We've seen teams shut down. Ohio State's been battling it all season. They need to get it under control before the bowl games in March. I think it's March, or is it? No, it's New Year's. They need to get it under control before New Year's, and hopefully they can, because those bowl games, they draw huge numbers on TV. So let's hope they can get it together. Luck for them. And we're going to drop even lower and talk some high school football. We're not talking about a play. We're talking about a player. With you want to take this story? Or do you want me to do it? This is a fun one.
It.
All right. A player was kicked out of a game, and to protest the call, this guy ran up to the ref and pretty much rock bottomed him onto the field. A high school football player laid out a referee after being disqualified from the game. And since then, criminal charges have been laid, and the whole team has been kicked out of the Texas High School League, I guess is what you call it. I don't know what association, whatever the high school route is. So one player's actions affected the whole team. So that you can kind of take that as a lesson that an action you make as an individual when you're on a team reflects on the whole team. So if you take a tripping penalty, the whole team's paying for that. So just remember that, kids. But we'll post the video down below in the link. Kind of a wild story, right? Like, imagine being so mad about a call that you attack the ref. Like the most I do is just to call the ref a fucking idiot and move on with my day. I usually get an extra 2 minutes, and maybe I should calm down because it's beer league, but whatever, right? Like, but I don't. I don't think I would ever cross check a ref in the head and be like, "Hey, smarten up." Like,
don't do that to
me. Yeah, maybe take a look in the mirror if you're doing that. But that's kind of an interesting. I've never seen that before. And speaking of stories that are kind of weird and, stuff that shouldn't be done, I was watching some Champions League soccer today, and there was a game on. I was flipping through. I don't follow Champions League too much, and if I do, it's usually the Premier League teams. But PSG and Istanbul Başakşehir were playing a game. And they were playing, and all of a sudden there was kind of a kerfuffle, and then both teams walked off the field. And I was like, what the hell's going on here? And then the commentators were trying to figure it out too, and nobody really knew what was going on. And then so naturally, to get all my news, I went on Twitter. And I'm not going to blame anybody for anything because it's all allegedly right now. UEFA and FIFA haven't laid down any ruling on it. But allegedly, the fourth official used a racial slur against a player, and both teams walked off the field and refused to play while that fourth official was still on the field. And just for some background, the fourth official is the guy that you see. If you ever watch a soccer game, he holds up the substitutions, and he's in the ear of the referee over the microphone, and he is the backup in case somebody gets, like if the linesman or the ref gets injured. So a solution was put forward that he would go to what they call the VAR truck, and the VAR is the virtual assistant referee, which is kind of video replay. And the teams were like, no, we just don't want him involved in the game at all. And I kind of agree with them. If what he said, and I'm not going to repeat it, but if what he said was true, then he shouldn't be involved in soccer at all. He should be fired, fined, and fired. I don't know if you're allowed to do that, but he should never ref a game again in his life, because if the comments that he said were true, it's disgusting. And you know what? Good on both teams for walking off the field. There's no place for that in any sport whatsoever, and there's no place for that in the world or society. I don't know what your thoughts are on this. I know you weren't really watching the game or the biggest soccer fan, but
broke, and it's more. The news. It's more than
sports.
The news that broke is more than soccer. It's more than sport. At least I'm grateful that you watched it because you made it current for us.
Well, I caught it by luck. I was just flipping through the Champions League game.
Right. That's what I mean. Regardless, even if it was luck or not, I would have only found out on Instagram. So there's no place in soccer, no place in sports, like you said, for language, behavior, and that referee, whatever judge, does not deserve to be working in sports.
No, and hopefully the whole thing is wrapped up with, there's going to be an investigation, and FIFA's going to try to defend their guy. Apparently, they're going to restart the game tomorrow with a new set of officials. We'll see if that happens. But there are, the way the Champions League works, the top two teams in each group move forward. And there's implications on the line for these teams winning. I think if one team won, I can't remember the way it was, but there's implications for if a team wins, they move forward and another team doesn't. So the game does need to be played. It did have implications on the line. Speaking of implications, will there be implications in a fight between Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul?
Other than just
There's a lot to unwrap here.
There's a lot on the line too in terms of implications, I would say. I don't know if they're specific yet, but just all the surrounding conversations involving this fight is what's interesting, because it's just happened so quick and it's coming so soon.
Yeah, so all we know right now is it's going to be an exhibition fight, which will probably be the same format as the Tyson fight. So 8 rounds, was it 2 minutes each? No, 6 rounds, something like that. I'm excited to see this. Like I said on the last episode, those Logan boys know how to market. You see this, you see the fight between Logan Paul and what's his name? Who did he fight? Who did Jake Paul fight?
Nate Robinson.
Nate Robinson. You see the fight between Jake Paul and Nate Robinson, and then all of a sudden the Paul brothers are getting a knock on the door from the Mayweathers, and they obviously saw the money in it. It's going to be a marketing fight. People are going to watch it. They're going to have huge celebrities on it. It's going to get huge buys. I think if Mayweather wants to show up, he will, and he'll teach Logan a thing or two about boxing. And we'll see where it goes. It's going to be really weird to see on camera, though, like a YouTuber fighting a professional undefeated boxer. Like,
I hope it's like a demonstration, like in terms of just how handful and just clinical it looks for Mayweather just to dismantle Paul.
Right. I'm just looking up the betting lines right now. I want to see what the odds are.
I got you. Take your time.
Yeah, but I can talk about it up, but we'll see what it is. Evander Kane, obviously, he's not getting his chance. So if you bet $100 on Logan Paul, you'd win $1,500.
Oh, okay.
And to win $100, you would have to bet $5,000 on Floyd Mayweather.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's an exhibition fight. They're not going to be trying to knock each other out, but we'll see what happens there. But I think that just shows us that there's going to be more of these celebrity fights. And I don't know who we see getting in the ring next. Maybe it's Evander Kane. Maybe it's Conor McGregor. Maybe it's, I don't know who, but these celebrity fights, you know, Snoop Dogg's onto something with his celebrity boxing league or whatever he wants to call it.
Exactly.
And, you know, it's all about marketing. It's all about that and getting eyes on the product. And the Olympics are looking to get eyes on the product. They made breakdancing an official sport and giving it the green light for 2024 in Paris. They've also included sport climbing in that. So sport climbing is like a parkour type of event where people are climbing over shit and being cool, like kind of like a 7-year-old at a park. But yeah, so those are going to be approved for the 2024 Olympics. I think whenever we see a growth in sport, it's always a good thing. And I am not a breakdancing expert, so I'm not even going to pretend to break down what we're going to be seeing. But, you know, it's kind of exciting for the Olympics to have another sport on there, another field of vision. And yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. I don't know, was it the only 2 added right there? I think there might have been 3.
There was one more. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. That I don't think it was that good.
Skateboarding, that's exciting.
Yeah, that is pretty good. Yeah, Tony Hawk's making
surfing.
Tony Hawk's making a comeback.
Tony Hawk doesn't need to make a comeback. There's a lot of guys that could do it for us.
How are they gonna do surfing? That seems like it could be really inconsistent.
But they already do it, right? Like it's already a professional event, so
I guess so.
It can be done. It's in the summer, right? So summer.
Yeah.
It's a summer sport. You just got to have the ocean nearby. And even if it's not nearby, they'll travel. They have a different site for the facility for surfing, really. So.
Right.
Oh, that's because aren't the Olympics coming to like California soon?
No, 2024 is in Paris.
Right. Okay, but they're coming to California in aren't they coming to the California? I swear they're coming. The Olympics are coming. I'm pretty sure I've learned.
Let me check 2028. I don't know. I can't remember. 2028 is Los Angeles. Yeah, you're right.
Oh.
There you go. Nailed it, buddy. Atta boy. I'll give you that one. Yeah. So the Olympics, they gain more sports. We're always looking for that. Moving to kind of more local news, Forge FC, they're a Hamilton-based soccer team in the Canadian Premier League. They are currently playing right now. They're losing 1-0 in the 69th minute to Marathon. I don't even know this team. Marathon, I don't know where they're from. But it's a CONCACAF game, so if they win, they qualify for the CONCACAF Champions League. And if they lose, they don't qualify. It's a playing game. So we'll keep an eye on that. We might have the results by the end of the game, but there's still half an hour left, and I don't know if we have half an hour in us straight up. So we'll see how that goes. But just shout out to Forge FC. We'll see how they do there.
Yeah, shout out to Forge FC. A marathon player tests positive for COVID-19 ahead of the game versus the Forge.
No, Ford should automatically win.
Right? Sportsnet broke that earlier today.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Neither. I just looked it up because this team you just talked marathon, and they're from Honduras,
Honduras Marathon.
I believe.
Yeah, all right. Well,
So
yeah, so
I didn't know that
that's some
Forge
confidence.
were doing that well. Good for them.
Well, they were the most successful team in the CPL, right? So they get to play in the CONCACAF qualifying. Kind of like TFC a couple of years ago. Remember they played that team in Mexico, and their arena was kind of like a prison because they had a moat between the crowd and the field because the crowd were notorious for rushing the field. So
Yeah,
the team actually, yeah, it was like that's like imagine playing that. Like you show up and you're like, "What's this?" Oh, that's to protect you from the fans. What?
that's not why you have fans. I mean, it might
Yeah.
be a draw as in terms of like why it's great to be a fan of that team, but that's not part of sport by any
What
means.
what draws you to this team? Oh, we beat up the other team after the game. Like that's not yeah, I was just like, okay. I heard that on the radio. I was like, Jesus Christ, these Mexican fans, they go hard, man. But
My nose there.
it was wild when we saw that. So we had the Lou Marsh Award handed out today, which is given to the top Canadian athlete of the calendar year. But it wasn't given out to one athlete. It was given out to two. They were co-winners. I don't know how you feel about co-winners.
It's such a Canadian thing to do.
Yeah, and I think there's a reason they did it. I'm just seeing who won it last year. But co-winners I'm okay with just because of the circumstances this year. So last year was Bianca Andreescu, which makes sense. You know, she won the US Open. She was, the top tennis player of the year last year in Canadian. But it has never been given out to two athletes at the same time before, except in 2001 when Jamie Saul and David Pelletier won it. And also in 1964 when Roger Jackson and George Hungerford won it. But it was given out to the duo of Alphonso Davies and Laurent Dervanve Tardif. So Alphonso Davies, big soccer player over in Germany. He's playing with, I can't remember the team off the top of my head.
FC Bayern?
Bayern. He's playing with Bayern. And the other guy, Laurent, I'm going to butcher his name, Laurent Dove Tardif, just call him LDT, has won. He won a Super Bowl this year, but he also sacrificed his football career to go and battle COVID on the front lines, which is why I think he was nominated and won the award. I don't know what you think of this. Like, I think if it was a regular year, Alphonso Davies would have won it by himself.
Yep, but I guess it is situational this year, so it's
Like,
inspiring.
I'm okay with it. Like, if you look at past winners, let's look since 2010. So in 2010, Joey Votto won it. 2011, Patrick Chan, the figure skater. In 2012, it was Christine St. Clair, soccer player. That makes sense. In 2013, it was John Korsh, who was a Canadian football player. Callie Humphreys won it in 2014. Bobsleigh, her legendary performance at the Olympics. Carey Price won it in 2015. He had that great run. Penny Oleski won it in 2016. She had that great run at the Olympics. Joey Votto won it in 2017 for his baseball. Mikhail Kingsbury won it for his freestyle skiing in 2018. And then last year, Bianca Andreescu for tennis. So they spread it around sport to sport. I like how they don't focus on the hockey players too much. But we can kind of go off on a little bit of a comedy segment here. And let's have some fun with it. Because the votes were 18-18 to 1. Which means Alphonso Davies got 18 votes. LDT got 18 votes. And another Canadian athlete got 1 vote. So which Canadian athlete got the 1 vote for the Lou Marsh Award? And why was it Frederic Gauthier?
That's a great question. Probably because he just got extra pucks deep this year. To be
Yeah.
honest, it could have been.
I don't know
We
who
can-
it could have been. Like, did somebody just vote like Sidney Crosby or Mitch Marner just for? Or maybe someone voted Steven Stamkos just because of the story surrounding it. But I don't know. Like,
Maybe even Jamal Murray because of the bubble.
maybe it was Jamal Murray. My two picks would be on Steven Stamkos and Jamal Murray.
Because they lit up the bubbles, what they did for the end of the year.
Well, not even like Stamkos played 2 minutes, but it was just the story behind it, right? Like if
Okay, I guess he
yeah.
did score. So he technically lit up whenever he played. He scored his only shot.
So. Yeah, he was averaging a goal per shift, I guess. But congratulations to those two, well deserved. And I don't think anybody really argued it. No one really put up a fight about why they won it or how they won it, but just kind of an interesting note in Canadian history, and we look forward to next year's award being given out. I want to give out the Orion Sportscast Award of the Year. Do you want to do this now? And I'll let you know the nominations, and we can pick one.
Okay.
All right. So the Orion Sportscast Athlete of the Year is given out to the athlete that entertained you the most this year on and off the field. So overall, so it can be comedy-wise, play-wise, overall entertainment. So just the athlete that brought you the most joy this year, this crappy year.
Canadian?
Doesn't have to be Canadian. It could be any athlete.
Okay.
So we're not going to announce it this episode. We're going to announce it next episode. That's when we're going to hand it out. Sound good?
Thinking about it now.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it too. I just came up with that on the spot. But we are going to announce right now is our top 5. So this is kind of your segment. So you want to take it over?
Yeah, so hopefully we'll get this segment produced for our Instagram fans and everyone. We just want to hear communication, honestly. Not only our top 5s, just we never really done top 5 or top 10, top anything. We just want to show you guys a little bit of our personal preferences in terms of athletes, teams, players, moments, anything really. So, and I guess to top that as well, we want to hear about what you guys think, and if you think that people aren't in deserving places or you have a different list, different moment. We're not here just to strictly talk about our opinions and ourselves. We want to know the varying opinions and the dominating opinions as well. So
right.
They're not necessarily broad or generic everyday top 5s, but we're gonna start and we're hoping to make a pile of them by the end of this whole journey with Josh and Brandon's top 5. Everything we'll have covered down to Korean baseball players and where we're starting today.
Right. So what are the 2 top 5s we're doing today?
So we'll start with very Canadian based because that's what we can start with. Top 5 current players in the NBA that are Canadian.
All right. So how do you want to do this? Do you want to give me your list and then I'll give you mine, or do you want to both do 5 simultaneously? How do you want to do it?
We'll go pick for pick starting at 5.
All right, sounds good. I'm ready. I'm excited.
Like a 2-sentence explanation, really. Nothing too serious. Just kind of.
I don't have too much detail, but I'm ready. So you want to kick us off at number 5?
So Brandon's top 5 current NBA. So let's just say, if we're not saying Steve Nash, all of this, we're just talking about
current played in 2020.
Right, exactly, and whatever. Yes, last season. That's it. Good way to put it. They're all looking like to play next season as well. Let's just get this started at number 5. I don't want to. So the problem is I have a bunch of names listed, but I was going to talk about where I should put them. But I'm just going to make a list because I'm not here to talk about making a list. I'm making a list. So that's me rambling. However, at number 5, I have Chris Boucher.
Okay.
And let me describe this real quickly. I just have Chris Boucher there. He's over a couple other promising guys. I'm going to leave RJ Barrett out of my top 5 just because he's inexperienced, young. He's exciting and he's current, but Boucher is experienced off the bench and he's had a lot shown and he can stretch the floor because he's already so big and he can do a lot of things that can only put him on the rise. And RJ is just kind of left off my list. I have another guy named Dort. He'll be off my list as well, but
Mhm.
he's from Montreal and he's really good and he's on the Thunder. But I think Boucher cracks the top five. What about you?
So my number five will be everybody knows him. He's played for the Cavs. Tristan Thompson is my number five. He has averaged 12 points per game, 10.1 rebounds, 2.1 assists per game, 51.2% field goal percentage, and he's 28 years old. He's the veteran on this list. He's been a staple in Canadian basketball for years, and he's quietly been playing well the last couple seasons, and he's a free agent right now, but we'll see where he ends up. So Tristan Thompson has landed at my number five. Who's your number four?
Right. Wow. Interesting take right there.
You weren't expecting that from me, were you?
I'm not even gonna mention where I have whatever, and I'm not gonna. And then once I mention that name, I'll definitely differ to you.
Sure.
My fourth pick is Shea Gilgeous Alexander, and
Oh, interesting. You're gonna
I have,
you're gonna
yep.
find my okay. This is gonna be fun.
So this is very interesting now, actually, because I have Shea at four due to some experience issues and attributes that he just the other guys I have listed ahead of him have already established. So
Okay.
Shea Gilgis. And I love Shea. Could have been anywhere fluctuated in this list.
Right. Okay. So my number four, Dillon Brooks from the Memphis Grizzlies. 24 years old, 15.6 point per game, 3.3 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, 40.2 field goal percentage. He had a pretty big bounce back sophomore season this year. It was kind of derailed by a toe issue. But he's nestled into a perfect role in that Grizzlies roster. He's working alongside with Jay Morant. Um, good defensive player. He's physical, makes him one of the most, a lot of fouls. I think that's why it lands him at 4 and not 2 on this list. But I think he's a good pick for 4 in Canadian basketball players currently in the league. So that's my pick, Dillon Brooks, number 4.
Interesting. So I have at number 3 Andrew Wiggins.
So I'm gonna stop you there. I also have Andrew Wiggins at number 3.
Right. So let me really quick. Andrew Wiggins tops Shea Gilgeous Alexander for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
Experience in the league, and Andrew Wiggins is quietly just like for his career, he's averaged just below 20 points, and he has over a 30% 3-point shot. It's not his best attribute by any means. Every year, everyone says Andrew Wiggins is the next most improved, but every year he seems to come back in kind of stature and growth, and then he comes down in the middle of the year. But that's just his biggest flaw is consistency, but doesn't mean that he hasn't steadily averaged 20 points and 3 assists, 5 rebounds.
Right. Yeah, I also have Andrew Wiggins. His stats speak for himself. Age 25. He's not. I don't think he's higher on this list just because of his commitment to the Canadian basketball team, like the national team. He never really wants to play for them. His recent trade to Golden State, it's a good opportunity for him, kind of bring his career back up. Even though he's 25, he's not going to have any big expectations. He's got the chance to develop as a quality player. Kind of his last couple seasons, he's averaged 20, 25 points per game, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He's about 45% field goal percentage. But when he entered the league, his expectations were sky high. And I think he's number 3 on my list just because he hasn't met those expectations. He kind of struggled to find his way and live his promise as a star of the league. And who's number 2 on your list?
At number 2, I have Tristan Thompson.
Oh,
for some reason, I have Tristan Thompson listed way ahead of Josh. The reason I have Tristan Thompson listed so high is because he's established NBA champion already.
Okay.
On top of that, he's in a situation where his role is very in high demand in the NBA.
Right.
And that's players like in the Eastern Conference with Joel Embiid. You had guys like Marc Gasol, and they're gone, and Serge Ibaka, and that type of player, a tall player. He can shoot, he can dribble. And ever since 2017, where he averaged 5 points a game. He's been on a steady increase to 10 points 2 seasons ago, and last season he was at 12 points per game, and he's at 10 rebounds, averaging almost a double-double in that situation. Well, definitely a double-double with 12 and 10. So this rebounds and where he's going in Boston, and more importantly, the experience that he's bringing, because he gets the ball with the rebound and he gives it to the right player right away. Sure, you can have Taco fall underneath the net, but when Tristan Thompson shows what he can do on the Boston Celtics, I think you're not going to be surprised why he's at number 2.
Right. So I'm at my number 2 now.
And that is
Jamal Murray, age 23. I kind of put on a show in the playoffs this year. It really stuck out for me, averaging 18 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game, 46% field goal percentage. He's only 23 years old. He's from Kitchener. He's been in the league for 4 seasons. He's kind of, a staple in Denver right now. He's offensive spark plug. He's rounded his game to become a crucial piece on a playoff team. And he's this high on the list just because of his playoff. He was a beast, right, man? Like every morning you turn on Sports Center when we were in the bubble, Jamal Murray was on your screen. And, that's why he's my number 2, just because of the recent success he had in playoffs. He single-handedly dragged that Nuggets team into a conference final. Let's hear your number 1.
Brandon's number 1 current NBA basketball player is Jamal Murray.
All right, so
Jamal Murray is at my number 1
for the same reason I had him as number 2.
For probably the same reasons Jamal Murray was at number 2 on Josh's. There's no difference in accolades. The thing I can say is Jamal Murray, with how close his most explosive season ever in the bubble was to the start of next season, is only going to show everyone how deadly he can be a direct all-star this year for sure. And that's just, in terms of Canadian currency, carries it, and he's relevant, and he's the reason I watch the Nuggets.
Right. So my number 1 player, you had him on your list. I think you had him at number 5 or number 4. SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's my number 1 player, 21 years old, 20 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, 48% field goal percentage. He's only 21 years old, and he is adjusted to his new team since being traded to Oklahoma City. He kind of got caught in the effect of the Kawhi Leonard trade. He's from the heart of Toronto. Oklahoma City, surprise team of the season. He does it all. He's a guard. He fits perfectly into the modern NBA. It's his 2nd year, and he's already the cornerstone of the Thunder and Canadian basketball. And, there's no doubt he's going to be a future all-star. I was super impressed by him. I think he's going to be he's going to be to Team Canada what Andrew Wiggins was supposed to be. And I'm really excited for how this guy does moving forward. So that's why he's my number 1. I think the way we approached our list was differently. I kind of approached it by youth and age and coming up, and I think you approached yours by current accolades and skill. And that was a lot of fun for me, actually. I didn't think that would be that much fun.
That was really great, honestly.
That was great, yeah.
Not necessarily that I expected it to be that fun. I didn't even expect that much variance in our picks. Really.
No, that was good. No, I like how we think differently. I think we got to do these top 5 a little bit more.
And I'm really that's honestly about it. That's to create a dynamic between us, not even on some creative chin.
I definitely think we view the game differently. I think I view it more analytically and through statistics, and you're kind of more of an eye test guy. And I definitely believe in it's not all about analytics, but numbers do tell a story. So that was fun to look at. We got one more top 5 to get to.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's hear it. What is it?
So sticking along Canadian lines in terms of topic and conversation, the only thing taking a step back here is that we're talking about golf and all-time, as well as
all-time.
Yeah, all-time Canadian. Your all-time Canadian, your personal all-time top 5 Canadian golfers, both male and female.
I'm not gonna tell a lie here. I didn't know it was all time, so mine are all current.
I think I
No,
made it clear to you that it was all time both.
it's okay. I can do it off the top of my head. I
No,
know.
no, 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 no. It's easier. It's honestly 2 picks easier for you probably.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm good.
Yeah. Okay.
I got my top 5. It only changes by a couple anyway.
Okay. No disrespect to the man, just personal opinion, and love what you've done for the Canadian game. But Stephen Ames is at my number 5.
He is
Stephen,
also my number 5. So why don't you take it away for both of us?
yeah, for sure. Stephen Ames has done a lot in terms of growing the game Canadian wise for the right-handed golfer, because Mike Weir came in and he absolutely tore up the scene with winning the Masters. He made the lefty look great. He made the Canadians look great, and then he had his little partner from the same country, and Stephen Ames. I'm not too sure on Stephen Ames. He didn't win any majors. He won a lot of events along his personal circuit growing up. He's very established, and I think he made a couple presidents. He might have made a President's Cup team
Right.
along his ways, and for what he did to grow the game, and how many times I heard him close to the leaderboard with the Canadian flag beside his name. I'll never forget him. So Stephen Ames.
Yeah. No, he's also my number 5. Great pick. Love it. One with the number 4.
Yeah. Number 4 for me is a huge inspiration, like not only outside of golf, but like she is a rock star on the course with such a dynamic swing. Brooke Henderson is coming in.
Oh, buddy. Why is she your number 4?
Brooke Henderson is at my number 4.
No.
Brooke
All right,
Henderson
let's keep
coming in
going.
at my number 4 position. I would love to hear when Josh brings her up, but I still have a list to bring up. But Brooke Henderson's coming in at number 4. She's young. She can be at the top of my list in 5 years, like all-time Canadian golfer, 100%. Brooke Henderson has done so much for the game in the amount of time that she's been graced upon this earth and golf courses in this area. So Brooke Henderson, local, Canadian, great swing, ping athlete, dominates the LPGA tour really, and just youthful, like at number 4 because of the experience maybe.
Yeah. My number 4 is Lori Kane. She's from Prince Edward Island. I don't know if many people know her, but she's a professional golfer on the LPGA tour. That's a mouthful tour. She started on the tour in 1966. She has 4 career victories and 99 top 10 finishes. That's why she's on this list. She won the Bobby Rosenfield Award in 2000, and she is a member, but this is huge. She's a member of the Order of Canada, and she became a member of that in 2006. She's the second Canadian to have multiple wins on the LPGA circuit in one season. In 2000, she did that in 2000. Sandra Post was the first person to do that in 1978 and 1979. Sandra didn't make my list, but I am going to give her an honorable mention. The next person to do this was Brooke Henderson that you just brought up. She did that in 2016. And yes, she was inducted into the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame most recently in the class of 2020-2021. So shout out to Lori Kane. She's number 4 on my list.
Right on.
Let's go to number 3.
Number 3 on Brandon's list is by the way, Mackenzie Hughes.
Okay.
Hughes at number 3 for my list. Huge personal preference. Mackenzie Hughes is honestly, it's more of a personal thing than anything in terms of how he's grown the game for the community that I've grown up in, and how I view golf, and how you can make just a living as a cold-hearted, as not a cold-hearted, nothing to do with cold-hearted, as a hard-working individual from a small town like I am. He's won on the PGA Tour. He's competed at high events, and he's been ranked in like within the top 50 of the world golf rankings. Like he's extremely on the rise in terms of my conditions. Shout out to Mackenzie Hughes, not watching this right now. My mother just let me know that he might be preoccupied right now with the birth of his second child. So he's actually just becoming a father recently with the first child, and very quickly he had another child. So he is taking care of his personal life right now, I'm sure, but Mackenzie Hughes is a very inspiring Canadian golfer, actually, for me.
Right. So I kind of came at this a little differently. My number 3, I got a 4-way tie for 3rd place. I hope you don't mind that. It's our podcast, so we can say what we want. So at 3rd place, I have Corey Connors, Adam Hadwin, Nick Taylor. Yeah, that's who I have. Sorry, not a 4-way tie, a 3-way tie. In Corey Connors, Adam Hadwin, and Nick Taylor. And I'm putting these guys at third place just because they all played at the Masters this year. Canada was on the main stage. We had, I think it was Corey Connors finished like 9 under, tied for 15th. And Adam Hadwin and Nick Taylor both had great performances. So Canada, man, like they're low key gonna be good in golf coming up. And we got some young guns on the rise in men's and women's golf. So I couldn't exclude them all from my list. So I just had them all tied at third in the middle of my list. So that's Corey Connors, Adam Hadwin, and Nick Taylor all at third on my list. Hope you don't mind that. It's our show. We can kind of do what we want with that. So
I don't care. It is our show completely.
Yeah. So that's kind of the great thing about it being our show. Like nobody can really tell us what to do. Who's your number 2?
Coming in at Brandon's number 2 from a physical education at the University of Boise State by way of Weyburn, Saskatchewan, Canada, we have Graham Dillette.
All right.
The 38-year-old turned pro in 2006, has actually been on the Canadian golf scene for quite some time, and he's made his impression with his I don't know what the right word is, his unnatural swing. He has a very, very fluent, plain swing.
He does have a very unique swing.
It's a very unique swing, but it's very, very technically correct, to say the least. So
yes.
Whatever he does it very well. Some of his best finishes, trying to find them right now. Yes. 2013 President's Cup. Holy hell, that seemed like 5 years ago. That's 7 years.
That didn't seem that long ago that he won that. Holy crap.
That was crazy. I remember that just like last year. And he was on the 2016 Canadian Summer Olympics team. Good for him.
Just a spoiler, this guy did not make my list.
Graham Dillette, he comes to mind instantly when I think of Canadian PGA golf.
Right.
And he's had 3 victories on the Mackenzie Tour PGA Canada, 1 international victory, and I'm just looking at some of his career highlights, and so I'm just excited to let you know that he is on my list.
Okay. You want me to get to my number 2?
Number 2.
My number 2, the only Canadian man to win a major golf tournament in 2003. He spent 110 weeks in the top 10 of the official world golf rankings between 2001 and 2005. He weighs in at 155 pounds. From Sarnia, Ontario, Mike Weir. He is my number 2 pick for top 5 Canadian golfers. Mike Weir, he won the Masters in 2003. And I was only 6 when that happened, but I remember it happening because my dad, he was pumped up. We had just moved to Canada, and I think that's why Mike Weir is so high on my list, because kind of after his Masters win, he hasn't done much. I don't think anybody can kind of kid about that. Like, he's kind of on the Champions Tour right now, and Phil Mickelson's on that and lighting everybody up. But to have a Canadian have won the Masters that staples you in Canadian history forever. And that'll have you in the top 2 of my list any day of the week. And my dad was so fired up about this guy winning because we had just got our Canadian not our citizenship. We got our citizenship a couple months ago. A couple of years ago. But we got our residency. So he was just so fired up to see like he was trying to be the most Canadian thing to be. Like, he became a like the only reason I'm a Leafs fan is because that was the thing to do in our neighborhood. So I was like, all right, yeah, go Leafs. And now all that's happened for the last, 20 years is I've been disappointed. But, my dad was fired up because he's like, oh, Canadian. Yeah, go. And, he's a British guy, golfing. He's watched the Masters for years, and he saw this Canadian guy and got behind him. And my dad in his office, he brought it with him from his job. He's got a huge photo signed by Mike Weir saying, thanks for being there. And it's a signed frame of him walking across the bridge at the Masters from 17 to 18. And, to win a major tournament as a professional golfer and to represent Canada, you will get top 2 on my list. So shout out Mike Weir, you're number 2 on my top 5 Canadian golfers. Brandon, who is your number 1?
Wow, I can't even describe how to describe my number 1 because it was just described for me. Mike Weir comes in at number 1.
All right, perfect.
There's nothing that skips a sentence when you talk about Canadian golf history, and if Mike Weir comes in that, then you're in the right conversation.
Right.
Mike Weir, Canadian golf. For me, I'm a lefty. Everything just hits home for me.
Right. I'm a lefty too, so I forgot to leave that out. Yeah, like just because he's a lefty as well, and you know, it's amazing what he's done, and you know, good for him. Do you want me to announce my number 1? I think we all know where this is going.
Number 1 for Joshua Egan.
My number 1, Brooke Henderson, 23 years old, made her debut in 2015, already won $7 million. She has 53 top 10s in her career, 9 career victories. She is beyond dominant in the sport of golf. And I don't care if you split it into men's and women's. She absolutely destroys the competition when she's playing. If you see Brooke Henderson on the card, you can put her in the top 5. It's absolutely unreal what this woman does on the course. It's magical to watch. And whenever she's playing, I watch it. And Brooke Henderson is my number 1 Canadian golfer right now, just because of, it's probably recency bias, to be honest. If you asked me to do this in 10 years, I might have Mike Weir at number 1 just because of that Masters win. But Brooke Henderson currently, she's the best Canadian golfer out there between men's and women's. Just the career stats, the career earnings, the style of play, the aggressiveness of play, the way she has just torn up the competition. So I'm going to give my number 1 spot to Brooke Henderson.
What a list.
You got a problem with that?
Beautiful list.
Thank you. So whose list wins?
Lists are not up for discussion.
Okay. Nobody comment.
Everyone. Oh, okay. I thought you were asking. Yeah, I literally thought you were asking me. I'm like, why are you asking me to choose over mine on your list? Like, obviously, this is a list for a reason.
Well, that's a dumb question because obviously my lists win.
For the fan, yes. Talk to the fan.
Yeah. No, guys, comment. Let us know whose list you like better. I personally think mine won because, like, sports-wise, I'm more insightful than Brandon. So.
Yeah, and that is why Joshua better list than me.
Right. So we just got a couple more things to wrap up. There was an interview on, I think it was Boston's local news station.
Yeah.
About the weather and how it wasn't good for driving. And this guy looked oddly like Jerome McGinley, and it turned out to be Jerome McGinley. If you haven't checked out this interview, check it out. It's Jerome McGinley talking about how the driving conditions aren't ideal, but he's lived in Canada, so he's not too concerned about it. It was really funny and nice to see Jerome just doing good and thriving in Boston, I guess.
Yeah, like that's one of those things you see every once in a while where either a former or current athlete is caught on the streets, and the local news team is out and about, but like the local news teams are a bunch of journalists who came out of college who don't really have any experience, right. And so they don't really know that they're staring into the highs of one of the greatest Canadian hockey players ever to great.
Right. And I'm going to stop you there because I'm not going to pin it too hard on the reporter. I don't think we want to thrash this reporter too much. All right, you know what? Fuck the reporter. She should have known. Iggy, 2010 gold medal game. You know what? You're right. Fuck the reporter.
The guy, like, you can't not miss.
It was a female. Fuck her.
Especially if like. Especially there's no.
No, you should know who Jerome McGinley is, but honestly, I don't blame her for not knowing who he was. Like, it's kind of, I'm just being all fun and games. Like,
exactly.
It happens. It was funny. Like, he made for a good interview. His head looked very shiny. Guys, shaved his head. It was great to see.
Super shiny.
What's not great to see is that Mark Donnelly, and everybody knows who he is if you're an NHL fan, and if you don't know who he is by name, are you laughing at my transition? Because I thought that was pretty smooth.
Everyone knows who this guy is.
But if you don't know him by name, he's the Canucks anthem singer. He's known for his extravagant singing. The only guy who I know is known better for his singing is that fucking grit grinder in Boston who comes out in like a triple XL tuxedo. But anyway, Mark Donnelly has been let go from the Canucks because he sung the national anthem in an anti-masker
parade
rally.
or something like that.
Like, buddy, find a better gig. Open for a comedian or something. Like, oh my god.
I don't know how it's not that.
You
have to save your face. You have to save your career.
that's
Save the Canucks organization. Is it Jets or the Canucks?
It was the Canucks.
Right, you have to save that organization's face because you are a part of that organization. And this goes back to that high school football thing. Like, if you're a part of the team in Texas and you're part of the organization and an individual makes a move as a part of a team, it reflects the whole thing. Like, you don't want the Canucks to be viewed as people who are, disobedient to the coronavirus. And
right.
That's something that they stand for as well. Because it's not, they fired him and they cut ties with the guy. So, I mean, clearly, what do you see? Like, is anti-masks the thing? Like, is that going to get you somewhere? No, it's going to get you fired from your job. Like, put on a mask, don't sing the anthem. The lads, go home, please.
Right, and I think it's a shame to be him. Canucks had to let him go, and that's that, unfortunately. I think we're about ready to wrap up. I think Brendan and I want to make an announcement. So it's the holiday season. People are giving out. And I'm going to give a shout out to Steve Dangle, who works for Sportsnet. He recently was able to get donations of, I think it was $1,400 to Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto. So we're not quite on the level that Steve Dangle and the Steve Dangle podcast are at, but we would like to honor or kind of match what he's doing and kind of keep the ball rolling. So us as a podcast, we're going to donate between $50 to $100 to the Children's Hospital in Hamilton. And for every subscriber we get between now and Christmas Eve, we will add $2 to that donation. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and let us know you subscribe, because we will honor this. And hopefully we can get this up to, my goal is to get this up to $100. So all we need is 25 subscribers by Christmas Eve, and we will have donated $100 to a children's foundation who needs it for Christmas Eve. So that's our goal as a sports organization. We may talk shit about teams, about people, but at the end of the day, we want what's best for the kids. So
that's true. Yeah.
Let's keep that ball rolling. And we got a couple things in the work. Shall we announce what we got coming up?
I'd love to.
All right. So as the holiday season, and most importantly, the World Junior season approaches, the Orion Sportscast is proud to announce that we will be releasing a top 20 World Junior moments episode. We will be releasing the best moments of 2020 episode. And lastly, we will be releasing the worst moments of 2020 episode. So look for those coming your way. Those are going to be so much fun to record. Brandon, what do you think about recording those in person? Let's do it. Let's keep it quiet. Anyway, for now,
it will be done.
As a wise man once said, Jeff O'Neill from Overdrive and Brian
garbage
Hayes.
out of here.
That's Jack Armstrong. You ruined my quote. Anyway, we'll see you later. Bye.